Saw the title to this video and thought, well, there we go. Guy has gone full moon boy. Clearly all that Dubai sun has fried his tiny brain. But, dear friends, before you rage quit, please note it's not yours truly who is making this insane prediction. So, who is, what have they been smoking, and is it all just hype, or could there be more to it? Okay, so this crazy call comes courtesy of one Balaji Srinivasan, a US investor, entrepreneur, writer, thinker, and next-level Bitcoin bull. Maybe we should call him the Bitcoin Minotaur. Now, Balaji was also the first ever CTO of Coinbase, joining the exchange when it acquired his company Earn.com in 2018. He read electrical and chemical engineering at Stanford and originally made his money building and selling a genetic testing company, whereafter he became a general partner at mega VC firm Andreessen Horowitz. He's also invested in lots of crypto projects and tech companies, and last year published a book, The Network State, which outlines his ideas for a possible future society. So, in just a few words, Balaji is very smart, very opinionated, very highly regarded, and very, very rich. Fun fact, his recent interview on the Lex Fridman podcast ran to just shy of 8 hours. Let's just say they didn't spend the time talking about the weather and their weekend plans. Still, worth a listen all the same. Now, you've probably noticed how in the past couple of weeks, the banking sector in the United States has been looking a bit, how to put it, like a massive bin fire. 3 banks, all of which are not coincidentally crypto-friendly, have gone to the wall, and US authorities, spearheaded by the Federal Reserve, have had to step in and basically throw money at the problem to try and stop it getting a whole lot worse. You can check out our recent video on Silicon Valley Bank for a rundown of what happened there. These banking problems aren't confined to the US, however. Over in Europe, Credit Suisse has had to be bailed out by the Swiss government and has now been acquired by its rival, UBS. This, however, hasn't allayed concerns that the contagion could spread to other banks in other countries. Once again, the tide has gone out and the global banking system has been revealed to be swimming absolutely butt naked. In short, as inflation has been rising, so too have interest rates. Higher interest rates have been devaluing the bonds that banks have been loading up on using their customers' assets. This has triggered bank runs as said customers have started rushing to withdraw their money because they know full well that the banks don't hold enough to backstop all deposits. The fear then feeds on itself and the whole house of cards comes crashing down. Now, in order to try and prevent this doomsday scenario from playing out, central banks, like the Federal Reserve, are turning the money printers back on to try and keep these banks afloat. Before you say anything, yes, I know there's a lot more to it than just money printer go brr, but I'm keeping the explanation very simple so we don't all lose the will to live. Anyway, more money flooding into the system means more inflation, and this is where Balaji comes in. In short, he believes that this increase in the money supply will lead to hyperinflation. You know, piles of money in wheelbarrows, society collapsing, all that sort of cheerful stuff. He is so confident this will happen, he's decided to put his money where his mouth is. So, when a Twitter user going by the name of James Medlock tweeted, quote, "I'll bet anyone $1 million that the US does not enter hyperinflation," Balaji replied, quote, "I will take that bet. You buy 1 BTC, I will send 1 million USD. This is around 40 to 1 odds as 1 BTC is worth around 26k. The term is 90 days. One can only imagine he clicked send, then dropped his mouse as he waited for Twitter to completely lose its mind. He wasn't disappointed. So, Balaji is betting $1 million, well, actually $2 million as he made the same bet with someone else, that BTC will moon over 3,500% by the 17th of June to reach a price of $1 million a coin. This would give Bitcoin a market cap of a little under $20 trillion. Remember, crypto's total market cap is currently a little over $1 trillion.
That's what we call a pump.
This would mean, in Balaji's words, hyper-Bitcoinization. As the dollar, and by extension other fiat currencies, get inflated away to zero, the world seizes on the only currency that can't be manipulated and devalued by central bankers and politicians. The only currency that can't be controlled by any one entity. The only true permissionless, trustless, and decentralized form of value transfer and storage known to man. Satoshi's vision is realized. Michael Saylor becomes president, and Bitcoin maxis the world over spontaneously combust from such a rush of vindication. Everyone who has been stacking sats all these years breathes a sigh of relief. Maybe my father will stop complaining about only getting in at 47k. Well, maybe not that. Then, earlier today, Balaji addressed some of the key points, in his words, in another tweet. He concluded his rebuttal of a number of questions thus, quote, "If the Fed does what they've said and prints money to infinity to ensure that every withdrawal goes through, then they're doing a stealth monetization of the debt." And then the basic question is, what succeeds the dollar? Because USD is no longer too big to fail. And when it fails, the unfortunate alternative for us all would be RMB. Getting enough people into Bitcoin to avoid both the digital devaluation of the dollar and the dominance of an unleashed China is the ideal longer-term impact. That gives us a long-term chance to protect freedom. So, essentially, turning the money printer back on will send the dollar to zero, and the only other national currency capable of taking its place would be the Chinese yuan. And I think we can all agree we don't want to live in a world where the Chinese Communist Party is effectively calling the shots. Bitcoin fixes this. So, could it actually happen? Well, Balaji isn't your average moon boy predicting a massive pump every other day, so could he actually be right? Well, probably not. In fact, almost certainly not. Sure, by all means dig this video up if indeed BTC is at 1 million by mid-June, though I imagine you'll be too busy partying with Balaji on his gold-plated spaceship to worry about rubbing my face in it. I know I will. But will we really, though? I have to say, much as a $1 million BTC does sound frickin' awesome, if that is indeed the case inside 3 months, then you can be pretty sure the world will be in a right old state come the summer. As in the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse going out for a canter sort of state. As in the don't bother making any holiday plans kind of a state. The best assets to hold in that kind of scenario are likely going to be drinking water and
guns. Lots of guns.
Now, there is no doubt that the global banking system is rotten to the core, and there's also no doubt that the dollar's days as the world's reserve currency are coming to an end. There's also no doubt that all other fiat currencies are either shitcoins already, headed very fast in that direction, or controlled by governments that no one in their right mind would want to be ruled over by. And there's also no doubt that the world hasn't even started to wake up to what Bitcoin is and what it's capable of. But 3 months is a bit of a short window, even under these circumstances. In all likelihood, central banks around the world, led by the Fed, will move to prop up the banking sector by all means necessary. Yes, there's a chance the money printers will start to roll again, although there's no guarantee that the Fed won't follow the example of the European Central Bank and hike rates again at its meeting on the 22nd of March. Nobody yet knows how Jerome & Co. are going to play this one because they are in an unenviable position where basically whatever they do is going to see them get crucified. Pause rate hikes? Quite likely. Or even lower rates? Pretty unlikely, and they'll be seen as going soft on inflation, which will almost certainly flare back up. Tighten again by hiking rates another 25 basis points, also quite likely, and they'll risk a banking collapse. 50 basis points and, well. But back to Balaji's bet. Although BTC has been pumping ever since banks started going bust again, it's hard to see the sort of inflows that would take it to $1 million, even allowing for inflation making $1 million a lot less spectacular than it sounds. Perhaps the bull market is back, although I and many others remain unconvinced. It's more likely that Balaji is making a point here in the most headline-grabbing way possible. Bitcoin is the future, fiat currencies are the past, and the sooner the world realizes that, the better. And remember, this guy is seriously wealthy. Losing a $2 million bet isn't going to hurt him like it would hurt most of us. Well, assuming most of us could even make a $2 billion bet. Now, some of the more cynical amongst us may argue that Balaji's bet has brought a lot of extra attention to Bitcoin and has likely helped its price climb in the days since. My guess, and it is only a guess, mind you, is that the former CTO of Coinbase probably owns a fair bit of BTC. BTC that's now worth a lot more than it was just a few days ago. Just a thought. I imagine Balaji's crazy bet may also have helped draw more attention to the podcast he launched a little over a month ago, though, again, that's just me thinking out loud. There is also the fact that the wording of the bet does leave it open to some interpretation. It could be argued that he's betting on hyperinflation rather than hyper-Bitcoinization by mid-June, but, well, let's not split hairs. Balaji's bet has helped draw further attention to the perilous state the world's financial system finds itself in. Now, it's likely that the powers that be will be able to stave off complete financial meltdown for a while longer yet, but make no mistake, it is coming. Sometime in the not-too-distant future, we are going to have a pretty stark choice. Government-issued funny money, which will by then be in the form of central bank digital currencies that will allow the government to see and control everything you and I spend, or Bitcoin. Well, I know which one I'm going to choose. Cheers.